Hey guys, welcome to CoET. In this video, we are going to talk about form building in HTML. Form is used to collect data from the user and send them to the server for processing. Form tag is a container for form elements, and form elements, they are what the user enter the information into in your form at the front end level. Okay, so let's begin to write our HTML code in order to build our forms. So to build form in HTML, you first need to implement the form tag, which I said it is the container for form elements. Okay, and there are so many form elements that we are going to discuss today. The first form element we want to talk about is the label tag. The label tag is just to show the label of the form element, informing the user which type of information is needed to be inputted into a particular field. Okay, so let's implement the label tag. So we have label close. So for example, we want to call this first name. Okay, first name. And let's implement our input tag. Input. So now the input tag has some attributes. Okay, and for the type attribute of the input tag, there are so many types that can be implemented based on the type of information you want to collect from the user. We have number one type of attribute is text. Okay, the text type is used to collect just text, okay, from the user. So like it can be your name, your first name, your last name, and other information just in text format. Okay, and the input, we are not going to discuss about the name. We are not going to discuss about the name attribute now, but also have another attribute called placeholder. The placeholder also provides hint to the user, telling them what to input in the input field. Okay, so maybe we have some random hint like enter your first name. Okay, let's save and open in our browser. Okay, so we have our label, first name, and our text input with the placeholder enter your first name. Okay, now let's add another field. So we use the break tag to skip this line, and we have our label again. Now let's create an email input. Okay, we have input, and all you need to do for the email is to set the type as email, and we have our placeholder, enter your email. Okay, and what this is going to do is that it will validate the input. Whatsoever information that the user is going to provide in this input field, it will be validated. If it is not an email, the form won't be submitted. Okay, so let's add another field. Label, and we can have phone number or postal code. And for this, we are going to implement the normal type. Okay, so have type, and all we need to do is to enter number, and this is going to validate the input such that only number will be allowed. Okay, enter your postal code. So let's save and see what we have in our browser. Okay, so we have email field and postal code. So let's put a break tag to put our new input field on the next line. Okay, now let's add another field, and this is going to be image. So to implement that, just write the input as it is. In the type, you are going to set the type as file. Okay, so what it is going to do is that it will only allow a file to be inputted into this field. Okay, so let's save, then refresh. Let's add a BR tag here to put our new input on the new line. Okay, it is like this because we haven't yet added any start to it. Okay, so this is for first name, this is for email, this is for number, and you see the number field, this only allow number. Okay, so you can enter 1 2 3 4, but you cannot enter any alphabet like A B C whatever. And you can also increment your number and decrement your number as well. Okay, and for the file, all you need to do to fill in the field, you just click this button, choose file, and your file explorer will be pop up, and you can just select the type of file you want to input. Okay, let's add a new field label, and this is going to be for password. Okay, so write our input, and for password, the type, we are just going to write password. You can have our placeholder, enter your password. Okay, so let's see in our browser. Okay, let's add the break tag. Okay, and so for the password input, what it's going to do is that it will have whatsoever information that will be inputted into the password input. Okay, so let's add some spaces between the inputs. So let's just add another break tag, BR. Okay, for more spacing. Okay, I think this is okay somehow. Okay, so let's add another font element, and this one is going to be for checkboxes. Let's call this skills as a label, and you can add a BR tag here again for more spaces. Input for the checkboxes, we are just going to spell it out into the type attribute checkbox. Okay, so we have skills 1 for the first checkbox, and for the second checkbox, skill 2. BR for more space. Okay, so these are checkboxes. So the next input we want to talk about is the radio. Okay, So let's put some space, BR. And we have label, male, and then our input. So we want to implement the radio, so we just need to put radio here as the type of this input. BR for some space, label female, input, and we can set the type as radio as it is. Okay, so let's save and open in our browser. So the difference between the radio input and the checkbox input is that the checkbox is used to select 0 or more items at a time, while the radio input is used to select one of many items at a time. So for example, gender, everyone has one gender, so you cannot select two genders at the same time. Okay, but for the skills, you can have 0 or more skills. Okay, so what we want to talk about is the 4 attributes, and the 4 attributes help users to select or fill or to check a radio button without actually clicking the button, but just by clicking the label. Okay, so to implement that, we write our 4, and this we're going to set it as male. And what you need to do if you write the 4 attribute in your label tag, you need to write the ID attribute as well with the same value, male. Okay, and we can do that for female. For female, and then in our radio female input, we write the ID and we put the same female. Okay, so let's open our browser. So with this, you don't have to, you are not mandated to click the input directly. You can click the label and it's going to select. Okay, so the next few we want to talk about is the select. And the select is actually, it actually provides a drop down list. Okay, so to implement that, we have select, and select tag is like a container. So in this the select tag, we can have the list of items. So to create our list of items, we write options. So we can have maybe for an example, colors, red, option blue. Okay, sorry, red, and let's put some space. Okay, so this is our drop down list. Select red or blue. The next font element we want to talk about is the text area. The text area is used to input text made of multiple lines. Okay, so let's save. Add some label, maybe about you, and add a label, color. So here we can also put some space. Open up. Okay, so we have color, and we have the list of color in the drop down. And for the text area, we can input whatsoever information we want to input on multiple lines. Okay, the next form element we want to talk about is the button. Okay, button can be added into a form so that the user can be able to submit the form. Okay, and there are two ways you can add button into the form. The first one is by using the input tab. So if you are using input for button, all you need to do is to set the tab as submit. The submit tab is going to tell the form that this is a submit button. So if you want to have a label on the button, then you need to use the value attribute. So we can set our value for this submit button as submit form. Okay, so let's open the browser. Okay, let's add some space. Okay, so a few things we want to talk about is so let's see another way to create a submit button. So another way, let's comment this out, and another way is to use the button tag itself. So in between we are going to write the text that will be displayed on our button. So we have submit form, and you can just set the tab as submit. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, this is our button. Okay, so the button is used to actually submit the form. So if you enter all of your details, you just click the button and then the form will be submitted. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Kindly like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more amazing videos.